And here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to the Bully Girl Podcast, episode number 4. Before we get started, we do have a very special guest with us. Angela, say hi.
Hello.
We have Angela here from Confidential Kennels. But before we jump into our conversation today, we want to give a special shout out to today's sponsor, Snubbies.com. Don't forget to get all of your Snubby dog needs at Snubbies.com. You can punch in our code BG20 for a 20% off at checkout. But at checkout, take a screenshot, do something so that we know you're using the code and give us a shout out every opportunity you have. Now let's get into it. Angela, how you doing?
I've been doing great. I'm up here in Montana, nice rugged Montana. I'm originally from Southern California. So it's quite the transition for me, but I'm doing well.
Well, it's good to hear. Thanks for coming on the show today.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
So let's jump right into it. Where does your love and passion for dogs come in? Where'd you get that?
Well, there's some history in me. Like there's a lot of history in my breed, the Connie Corso. My grandparents were both dog handlers and breeders. I'm sorry, my grandparents were both breeders, and they met at a dog show, and their kids were handlers. My parents, my mom and my dad, when they were teenagers, they would handle for my grandparents. And so after they met, they all started to hang out, and the teenagers fell in love, and that's how I came about. So I've been around. I guess we'd call it the dog world or dog industry or dog showmanship for my entire life. And I've been around, farming lifestyle, ranching lifestyle my entire life through my grandparents. And that's where my passion originally stemmed from for the dog period. But for the Connie Corso, that was quite a while ago. There's a point in history where I had seen one. It was actually my sister's husband's dog, and it made quite the impression on me. And I just remember when I saw it, feeling the implosion and feeling an emotional response, an emotional reaction to this animal. And I remember thinking, what is that? Like, that's not a pit bull. It's big for a pit bull. Is that a mastiff? But it's not sloppy. Like, I just felt like, what the hell is that? But I was so impressed by it. It drew me in. So my love for the dog came from my family, and my love for the Connie Corso came from my first impression of one.
Well, thank you for that. We just a little while ago we were talking about the Cane Corso itself, right? The sheer
Yeah.
size and just the domination that this dog has when you enter a room and you see it, its presence, right? So
Yeah.
since you've been involved with Confidential Kennels, what made you want to start that?
So, you know, I've always loved animals since I was little, and
Okay.
like I said, I got that from my grandparents and being raised around animals. And after that, everybody tell people don't generally believe, that you can go into the animal field, if that's what you want to call it, or I want to say dog breeding, showing things like that are not veterinary related and become successful. It's a joke. It's in the United States. It's not you. There's a time where they don't consider a professional breeder a field. So, I loved animals, but I was, from some of the people I love most in the world, not that they're at fault, it's fine to believe this way, under the impression that you really couldn't have that as a career. That's a hobby. That's something you do on the side. So I went to school, and I got a career, and I was in the view of the public a successful person, right? Because I did the whole 9 to 5 and hustled a paycheck and all of that. But I just kept, I had the courses. I had already gotten one at that time, and I was taken back by them. So I was doing a ton of research, and I just kept wanting to do the kennel. I wanted to do the dogs, and I got to the point where I just was like, if I'm not going to make money, then I'm not going to make money. I'm going to do this. So I did a ton of research, and I started the kennel. And at the time, the Connie Corso was new to the USA, and it was just breaking, and people were having the same reaction I was. They were seeing this dog. It was imposing, like you said, it had this command presence, and they were feeling these emotions when they seen it, and they wanted it. But they couldn't get it, right? Because everything, there's not that many, and
Supply
you
and
had
demand.
to
Yep.
import, and a lot of people don't know how to import, so they couldn't get it. So the kennel started to take off quite fast, and I had to learn to discipline myself, supply and demand. Like I had to gain the respect for the animal, to preserve its history and want to breed for the right reasons, and not to just provide it to everybody who wanted it, and lower my standards because I'm trying to produce, these animals to supply the public in the United States because it was new to them with their needs and wants. They wanted a Corso. Everybody wanted a Corso. It was new. So, to circle back, uh, I started the kennel a long time ago, about 2007, I want to say now, and and fell in love with the breed just from seeing it. Got the passion for animals from my family, and started the kennel, and it became successful, and all else is history.
So let's talk a little bit about that success. There's a big difference between you and some of the other breeders that we've had come across the show. You're a bigger fan of originality in the breed, correct? Rather
Yeah,
than to see change and make statements. Let's talk about that.
I'm all about preserving the breed, and I have said before, there's nothing wrong with changing new breeds and making a statement, right? But this animal, at one point it was just a type of dog. Has been traced back to 800 BC, and a lot of people think they're from the Roman era, and they're known from being from the Roman era from time of war. They're war dogs, but they have been able to trace them back to the Middle East, and we all know that the Romans conquered, right? So I imagine that they at one time were in the Middle East, and that's how they obtained this dog and started to use it for war. So I, fought myself over the new standard of the Connie Corso set by, the American Kennel Club versus what the Corso really was supposed to be, which is something more along with the Italian Connie Corso preservation. And I'm more into preserving. So I got to the point where I couldn't say yes to everybody because the dogs aren't for everybody. I know that there's a spectrum within temperament that we can place. We can kind of find a dog for most personality types, but this breed can be very serious, and it can be very I don't want to say dangerous because I don't like to use that word, but has the potential to do more damage if it does decide to do that because of its power. So for me, like I had to really start to decide, what is my goal? What do I want from this? It's not money, passion. Money is a byproduct of passion. I'm passionate about this, but I wanted to show respect to the people from the past and to this ancient animal. So I'm all about preserving the Connie Corso, the original Connie Corso, the one with the command presence that when you walk in the room, that's not going to run and jump in your lap like a Labrador.
Okay. All right. Now I know you've been busy, right, with your preservation. You've been busy. So we're being
Yeah.
told that you are opening a secondary location.
Yes, I am out of my mind, and I'm out here in rugged Montana, which is insanely beautiful, but like most beautiful things, is very dangerous in the winter here. And I am opening in the process of opening a second location. I am struggling to get through it, but it will get done.
Okay. And when do you think that project will be ready to go?
I'm hoping by next summer, not this summer. I mean,
Okay.
things move very slowly in this area due to weather. You can't drill during winter at all. I mean, the weather's insane out here during that time. So you have to wait until late spring, summer to get anything done. You have to be on a list. And so, we're looking at summer next year, hopefully.
Permits, complications.
Yeah.
So, so let me ask you this: what are you feeding your Corso? Talk me through a day's worth of meals for your Corso.
Well, besides the lovely snubbies,
Of
we love
course.
to raw feed over here. So I'm a big advocate of raw feeding. Yeah, to go over to the whole experience of raw feeding, I know that our animals aren't wild anymore, but in the wild, a mother hunts with the pack, and then it'll come back, and in the after the nursing, the first stages, which is going to be gross to you guys, but we'll regurgitate half like eaten meat, and it kills off some of the bacteria because she's already started to digest it, and the puppies eat that. So I am a big advocate of raw feeding. I have property, so I'm able to either hunt or raise my own meat, and we flash boil to kind of replicate the whole regurgitation, which is like a hot high boil for like 20 minutes or less to kill not all the bacteria, some of it. The other thing I give is a probiotic mutt gut. It has more strands of good bacteria than any other probiotic that I'm aware of. That kind of like that will help balance the good and bad bacteria while you're transitioning to raw feeding.
Okay, thank you for that. Yeah, a lot of breeders are transitioning over to raw food because I think with all the extra stuff they're adding in our food nowadays as well. I mean, I have to go somewhere specifically have my dog food made because I can't just buy generic brands
Oh
anymore
wow.
because you can't trust any of the stuff that they're putting in that either.
No.
So I think that's super good on you. So I want to talk about a special dog. Let's talk about Black
Okay.
Rain. I've seen Black Rain a couple times in pictures and at shows. You share, would you care to share some of the history that you've had with Black
Black Rain was the first Connie Corso that I owned myself. The first Connie Corso that I had in possession was not mine. You know, it was my sister's husband's. Black Rain was my first Connie Corso, and she was a undefeated conformation
Rain?
champion. At the time when I first entered the dog world and I was first learning about breeding, I was doing everything for conformation. Now I'm more directed towards working. So I don't care to have dogs that don't have the capability of working and showing. So I want them to have the correct conformation, which is like a longer body, but also be able to work. So Black Rain did phenomenal in the show ring. She was undefeated. She was sweet and loving and all these things that the public would want, but I don't know if she's so much aligned with the kind of Crystal you and I talked about, the with the command presence and the ancient history and all that great stuff running through her blood, you know, but she definitely was very sweet and had some characteristics, but physically a beautiful animal. Physically, you're gonna get the response that we were talking about. Physically, she's amazing. And I still love her, but she, you know, she's passed away by now. She's way
I'm
too old
sorry
to
to
be
hear
alive.
that.
Yeah.
So I mentioned earlier that I have a tendency of trying to stir the pot a little bit and just make some of our guests a little uncomfortable. So with your permission, I would like to somewhat make you uncomfortable.
Shoot, come
All
for
right.
me.
Okay,
Let's
I'm
do it.
coming. So if I am a customer and I'm looking
Mhm.
for a Cane Corso, what makes Confidential Kennel so special? What makes your
Well,
Corso better than everybody else's Corso?
the first thing I'm going to say is
Sell me.
discipline. Discipline. We have a wait list, so I'm a disciplined person by nature, and I'm my own hardest critic, and that's the start. You know, a lot of these kennels out here, they can't see their flaws. How can you correct something you can't see? They can't see a flaw with their dog. I see a flaw in every one of my dogs. So, and myself. And that's how I'm able to keep an edge. Like, I'm very aware. I have a sharp eye. I'm extremely disciplined when it comes to my breeding program. It has to be more than just looks. You know, the dog has to have the temperament you and I talked about. It has to be naturally protective. It has to also have an on and off switch. So a Connie Corso, you know, they're made for war, yes, but now they're made for human protection, but they're not made to make up their own mind unless you're not able to. So you should be able to, with the Connie Corso that's balanced, have it around kids and then be able to turn it like if somebody assailant comes in, if they can identify instantly by scent or view, you should be able to turn the dog on, and then you should be able to down that dog and have that person, if you want, pet that dog. So we do a lot of temperament. So I'm very not just disciplined, but I'm very, very, very into the temperament. The temperament has to be sound. The dog has to be balanced. The dog has to have all the characteristics that a Connie Corso should have. We match our dogs also to the people. So you get on a wait list and you're
That
like,
was my
I'm
next question.
okay. I'll wait for it
No,
then.
continue. No, continue. So I,
Okay,
I feel
so
like a lot of people, with what you said, you don't sell your dogs for money. So a lot of people just sell dogs to sell dogs and make their money. I think it's important for the owner, right, to have the right dog for the right scenario for the right personality. Go ahead.
yes. So one of the questions we ask people when we're talking to them about getting a Connie Corso from us is, you know, what does this dog look like to you? Not just physically, but how does this dog act? And they're like, oh, the puppy. And we say, no, I'm not asking you about the puppy because the puppy becomes a dog. I need to know because I know these lines so well and these temperaments so well. what the dog looks like for you so I can determine what puppy will become that dog. And so we match our dogs to the people based off their temperament. You tell me what you want in color and gender and temperament. And then I will after you're on the wait list, and our wait list is generally at least 6 months. Some of them people have waited 2 or 3 years, will we will reach out to you when I have puppies that match your profile, that match your needs. So I'll say, are you active or not? What do you do? And what do you want? So I'm active all the time, but I just want a dog to chill on the couch with. Okay, so you're active and you run a lot, but you want to take the dog running. Yeah. Okay, great. So we're not going to give that person an active dog. They don't want that. They just told you they don't want that. So the worst thing you can do is fall in love with the puppy that isn't right for you or your family, because those are the puppies that end up returned. We're looking for a lifetime commitment. We want to make that match. It's kind of like creating a little family. We want to ask those questions so that we're matching our dogs to the people. And so when I do send you 2 or 3 photos, all the photos that you're seeing, besides it being the color and gender that you're wanting, match what you're looking for. I'm not going to send you the Tasmanian devil if you like to lay and watch Netflix every weekend. Like, no, because you're going to be calling me in 2 weeks like, this dog has chewed up all my furniture. I need you to come get it. We need to be, as breeders, more responsible in matching it. And so, like, I want to say again, money is a byproduct of passion. I want that to sink into the breeders, and consider yourself a professional. Don't listen to the public about breeder, this whole stigma against breeders. Like, if you are passionate and you love what you do and you're disciplined, the money will come. It's
Have you ever
simple.
turned away a buyer?
Yes. I'm not a Karen, so I'm not crazy. I'm not gonna be like, I'm balanced just like I expect my animals to be. But people come in hot sometimes, and they're telling you a list of everything that they think that they want and need in a dog, and you have to be like, you're none of those things. Like, you can't handle that type of dog. Don't come in here like as this little meek person and tell me you want a working dog, and you can't say no for yourself. You're not going to tell that dog no, ever. The dog's going to tell you what to do. So there has been situations where our people come off rude or
Hmm.
demanding, where I have to say, look, what I tell them is, I put on myself, I don't think I'm the right fit for you. It's kind of like saying, it's not me, it's not uh you, it's me. It's just kind of like, I don't think I'm the right fit for you. There's a lot of good breeders out there and our list is long, so best of luck to you.
So with a lot of the popular breeds that we've had now, that we're seeing now, right, with the American
Uh-huh.
Bully, the XLs, the Micro Bullies, and even with the Pit Bulls, you chose the Cane Corso, right?
Yeah.
So I know that you fell in love when you first saw one, right? But why are they so special?
Well, it was the emotional response, like I said. But when I was young, I've always loved dogs. Like I told you, my first breed that I owned was American Pit Bull Terrier. I used to read all the John Stratton books, all the Going Light line, which he was popular for, Going Light Barney, and all of those dogs. And I love pit bulls, and I love the look of a pit bull. But there was something missing for me with pit bulls, and I'm not insulting any pit bull owners.
Of
Trust
course
me, I
not.
love pit bulls. There was something missing, and it's a connection. The Corso's a human dog, so they're made for human protection. They're deeply connected to you. They're an empath. They can almost feel your emotion. They know if you're right-handed or left-handed. They're highly intelligent. They're ancient. The dog's from history. The dog's been around more than our lifetime. This is something that resonated with me emotionally, and looked, and I don't want to people chew my head off for saying this, but had a similar look type as a pit bull, right? But they're definitely not. And so then I felt like I was getting the full package. I'm like, okay, well, I loved pit bulls, and then this dog has this other emotional connection with me, and they have this history, and they're so connected, that it was what made me fall in love.
Okay, all right. So we've talked a little bit about your Corsos. I'm being told that there's a high probability that you have one in the room.
Oh,
Is that
yeah.
correct?
Yeah, so the conning that I have in the room used to be a military service dog, and his old owner actually had a prosthetic. Well, I don't know if she had a prosthetic limb, was in the process of getting one, but he used to pull her in the wheelchair. And we don't cross train our Connie Corsos with from service to protection, but he no longer does service, so he now does protection work. Aries, I'll let you meet him. Come here. So he doesn't have his ears done right because they wanted him to look a little more friendly because he was
Look at
doing
that.
service work. But he pulled the wheelchair around and he's very loving. He has a bunch of commands. He's sweet, but he can be turned on and off like a switch. So
Oh
after he
no, I
was
can't.
retired from service work, I protection trained him, and so he can do sleeve work and all those things, and he's very sweet, and I love him. He's my
And how
cuddle
old is
buddy.
Aries?
Um, Dang, I think he might be 8 already, 7 or 8 already. Time flies. I donated him to the veteran because I donate service animals. We'll call them potential service animals because they don't come already certified. The veterans do that, but they're screened. So I donated him as a potential service dog to this lady, and I had already given her one. She was retiring, so she wanted a younger one. And then she ended up having a baby, so she had two, and she decided to give the younger one back. So
Beautiful dog.
that's huh.
Absolutely beautiful dog. So,
Thank
as
you.
a veteran myself, in the future, if you decide that you are working a program to give a service dog away to another veteran, please consider yours truly.
Oh, I'll get you one, and you'll love them because, like I said, they're so when they did go to Rome, right? Once they're in Rome and they were going to war, that's what they were made for, the soldiers. So they took them to war so the soldiers could sleep at night. They would, very quiet dogs, so you don't know but they'll alert you and they'll alert the soldier, and they would go to straight up war. So they're perfect and they're deeply empathetic and connected. That's why they make the perfect service dog for soldiers.
I agree because
And
we
they're
see
big,
service
so if you
dogs
have
now at the airport that they don't resemble anything service about them. So,
it, yeah. Well, the good thing about their size, though, is they can't actually help a man get up if he doesn't have limbs.
absolutely.
So
And look at the
that's
temperament, so
another
well
thing that
behaved.
helps.
So,
Yeah.
so talk to me a little bit about your transportation business.
So we have an animal relocation company, and
Okay.
we do international and we do domestic. So the international is more about paperwork, but when we're doing the whole international transport, it's more like relocation and connecting with those people, helping them get through this nightmare because they get all this. They first thing they do is try to do it themselves, and they call and they find out they have to do all of this paperwork, and there's nothing that they can figure out, right? Um
So I
so
so you do both international and domestic. And it's not just relocation.
yeah.
Do you deliver dogs for other breeders as well, or is it just something
Yeah, so
strictly to confidential?
the domestic ones, we deliver dogs for other breeders. The company's called Antiops. It's animal operations. That's what it's short for. It's also the animal syllabus is called Antiops, the scientific syllabus. So the name of the company is Antiops. We relocate animals domestically and worldwide. So the domestic travel is generally breeders. So there's not a lot of, and some relocations throughout the US or helping international clients going to and from airports. And the international is generally people relocating, military, things like that.
So what made you want to start that?
The huge failure with the airlines. Do you remember when they put the Frenchie in the overhead? And then the bad PR, they banned all the breeds instead of like fixing the issue because they didn't want the bad PR. So, and it's, in other countries you can still ship animals through air, you know what I mean? Like, and it's not that big of an issue, and it's easier sometimes to ship internationally and to book internationally than it is domestically on the planes. I'm talking specifically on the planes, not the paperwork. And so when they had that huge failure, they banned like 25 breeds, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I have this wait list, I have to get these dogs out. So I started driving them myself. I'm like, and then I started, these other breeders are like, hey, you're taking a dog here. Can you take this? Can you take that? So I would take it, and before you know it, these online puppy companies and were calling me because they couldn't get their dogs out. There was no more flights. They wouldn't take them, the airline. So it just started to expand and expand. So we still have the domestic, and that's pretty awesome. Helping these breeders out, getting the dogs around, and then we also have the international for more of military. Military orders are moving out, and also I was telling one of your colleagues that we helped get some of the dogs that were stuck out in Afghanistan back into the United States. First thing the U.S. did, I don't even want to touch too much on that because I don't want to get our little podcast up. Is like, but we stopped accepting
Get me
animals.
canceled this early. Yeah.
Yeah, we stopped accepting animals from Afghanistan, so we took them into Canada, sat them in Canada for 6 months, did the rabies through Canada, and then brought them in from Canada to the U.S. or Canada to Italy to these other countries that all had these bans from dogs and cats
And
coming in from
let
Africa.
me get something straight. And you've done all of this by yourself.
Well, I have a team of people. I don't want to sound like an arrogant, prick. I got a
No, no,
team of
no, not
people.
arrogant, but there has to be some confidence in the fact that this was all your idea.
Yeah, well, confidence and stupidity all together. It just happened that way. Yeah, like an arrogant idiot. No, I'm just joking. Yeah, I'm not afraid to fail. I think that's key when it comes to any type of entrepreneurship. Not being afraid to look stupid. Everybody and sadly people you really love and look up to will tell you can't. They don't mean to say you can't do it, but they just don't believe it because they're not doing it themselves. They think it's not a real job. I mean, that's the way society works. So, yeah, I mean, it all started with just the fact that my rebellious nature, and I wanted to do the dog breeding, and I had this career but it wasn't for me, and like I said, I guess I just decided to do it, and I don't want to say I got lucky because there was a lot of hard work, blood, sweat, a lot of tears, a lot of failures, but you know I was fortunate, I guess, to become
So,
successful.
so where do you see Confidential Kennels in the next 5 years?
Oh, well, I want to. Well, I have to fulfill this list, but I want to go more into the veterans. So part of the facility up here in Montana will be a veteran, hopefully a veteran
The one that you're
transition.
building.
Yeah,
Okay.
attempting to build. I'll talk to you guys in like 2 years, and hopefully I'm not like, oh my god, it was a nightmare. Got the fuck out of or got the heck out of there. But yeah, well, part of it will be a veteran transition facility, so veterans will be able to go there and help take care of the animals and kind of decompress from the military lifestyle. And it's hard because when they leave, and this, when they leave the military, it's kind of like losing your identity because you've been part of a group for so long, and that's who you are. And so you're a marine, or you're depends on what branch you're in, but they have to transition. Like, they all of a sudden they're not part of that, and they have to be this normal person, and it can be challenging for some people, especially if they've seen war. And so I
I'm in that
definitely want
seat
to start
now. That kind of hits home. Yeah, I've been in the Army for
yeah.
19 and a half years.
Yeah, and just think
I
about when all this, I don't know how long you've been out, but when it happened,
No,
and
I'm
just
still in.
kind of,
I'm still active
oh,
duty.
you are.
I
You're
am.
still up here. Well, not to give you the blues about what's to come, but when you
No,
do
but
get
you're right
out.
because we lose so many of our brothers and sisters because they get out. And, I was just mentioning this to my wife the other day. Like, I'm going to get out and I have to, it's almost like psychologically, I'm preparing myself to reinvent who I am, like none other,
Yes,
right? And there's
you're
not a
losing
lot of
part of your identity.
20 years of wearing boots and a uniform and shaving every day and doing a certain structure in life and conforming to certain norms every day. And then we're out. And I know a lot of my friends, I've been to war twice, and I know a lot of my other war vets, they associate a lot of their woes with a dog.
Yeah.
They get a certain service dog that they get attached to. And I think that connection that the dog, it's almost as if the dog just somehow, it may sound crazy to some people, but the dog just understands.
Yeah. Well, they're not
So,
judgmental, and there's that connection there. They speak without words. So we're always, what we constantly train the dogs is to learn our language. We should really be trying to learn theirs because they're able to speak without any words, and they have to learn everybody's language. They have to learn to communicate with us without talking.
for those that are listening and are viewing our podcast, if you're interested in seeing more of Confidential Kennels, they are in issue 104 of Bully Girl Magazine.
Yes, thank you too. Thanks for adding
Right,
me.
we have a whole
I
feature in
appreciate
there,
it.
which reminds me, right? If you have not, go ahead and download Bully Girl. mobile app. We have every issue on there digitally. Don't forget to subscribe to Bully Girl Magazine as well. bullygirlwarehouse.com. You can buy our merch, our gear. And if you have questions for future podcasts like this, you can put them on there or just email them to us, and we'll be more than happy to ask some of our breeders our questions. So once again, bgmwarehouse.com. Subscribe there as well. So, Angela, I have another question for
Yeah.
you. Since Black
Yes.
Rain, have you taken to competing again?
Yes. We've competed since Black Rain. So Black Rain was the first, and it's kind of a standard for our dogs. We want to have them all in the show ring, but with good judges, judges that are able to that specialize in the breed. They know what it's supposed to be. And also we have them working in competitions. Working is something that can be tracking, something that can be protection work. They do dock diving. I mean, there's like I want to say like some type of bunny race now. Like they do all kinds of stuff. So when people get puppies from me and they want to potentially breed, I ask that they're able to fulfill those things. And some of them get nervous, and I try to explain them. There's so many different things that are considered work. I just want to make sure that your dog is mentally stable and has the potential to work, and that we're maintaining or bettering what we're doing.
Okay, so I need your permission again.
Go for it.
Let's get uncomfortable.
Shots
So
fired.
as a
Let's see.
successful female breeder,
Uh
and let's
huh.
be honest, in a mostly male dominated industry,
Yeah.
right? What are you doing to just shut down these stereotypes? Like I'm pretty
First,
sure just you and your success, you intimidate a lot of other people who have been doing this for a while as well.
yeah. Well, the first thing I try to do is kick every male's ass that I compete with. No, no. Well, you have to learn to first understand that not just men. Some people are threatened by a female in a man's world, and it can be intimidating for me. Like my biggest thing is just to focus on myself and my kennel and becoming my own competition, But if to be honest with you, you guys had me on in a magazine in 2016, and I started like 2007, but I wasn't super popular yet, so that really helped. And so Bully Girl magazine is really supportive of female breeders. So it's been awesome for me. Like I do go out there and I'm fiercely competitive. Like I'm really disciplined. Like I said, I'm joking, but I'm not. I do, like, if a man comes with a chip on the shoulder, really want to beat him, and I won't give an inch. Like I'm on my game. Like, so if you're gonna try to come, like,
Come
if
correct.
you're gonna have to beat me with my own dogs, like something you got from me, are you gonna have to freaking work harder than me? And that's pretty hard to do.
So let's use the platform real quick. I'm going to give you the opportunity to address younger female breeders who are just getting started, right? What words of encouragement or wisdom would you give them?
Well, I would tell the younger female breeders to do their research, like to not just come out with disrespect. Men and women don't like to be disrespected, so don't think that every man is challenging you because you're a female with that chip on your shoulder. Don't have the chip on your shoulder. Like be your own best friend and your own competition. Stay focused, stay disciplined. Let your work speak for you. Don't be a loud mouth. Like you have to. A lot of men and women like to talk crap, and you got to put your money where your mouth is. You got to have those accolades. You got to have that success. And even if you do, don't talk shit. Like
Be
I
humble.
try not to, but I say things jokingly. So stay focused, stay disciplined. Don't be a loudmouth. Show some respect and earn your respect. Don't think you're gonna get respect because you're a female in this world. Like you need to earn that respect. Where I don't feel like we are um, put in a place like women were generations ago. I feel like we have a lot of opportunity we need to capitalize on and to inspire and support other females. So don't we're not stop competing with other females, compete with yourself, you know, keep your head on
So
straight.
that's good advice
Keep
too. And I
that head
think
on a swivel.
remaining humble and just taking your losses and your punches as positives and finding stuff to always make the best out of every situation is good too. So
Yes,
I
for
may or may
sure.
not have gotten some intel that you're planning on writing a book.
Yes. Great intel. So I like to write more than I like to speak. And I think that's because I like to process everything I say. I'm very mentally detailed. So I'm going to write a book. And I'm challenging myself because I'm doing it at the same time we're trying to build this kennel out here in this transition center. So I'm hoping, by fall of next year that I'll have the book out. I've started it, but I mean, and some people write books in a month, but that's just not me. I
Well,
mean,
let's
it's
just
going to
say that
be
it's not you
my.
because yours is going to be better thought out than people who can write their book in a month.
That's right. It's going to be way, 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 way better thought out.
So,
Detailed,
so, so
but not
let's
boring.
talk. Let's talk Angela, not confidential kennels, but more Angela over the next year or two, right? We're also told that you want to get more into judging and educating. So where are you
Yes.
with that? I did my research before I came
Yeah,
on. I
you
need to
did
make
your
sure I came
research over
correct.
here. Well, hopefully, maybe ABKC or someone invite me to be a judge. Yeah. So one of the biologists that actually resurrected the breed, Dr. Breber, I'm trying to put together also a show in April of 2024. Well, he'll come out and he'll do a seminar, and I'm hoping maybe I can judge at that show. I definitely want to get more into judging and educational matters on the breed. I definitely want to make sure that some of the stuff, not that it will die with me, like that's an you know, big statement, but I just want to make sure it continues on. I definitely want the public to be aware of the Cane Corso's history and preserving it, and let's not make them just some happy go lucky dog. You're supposed to be mean.
He's he's supposed to be mean, but
Yeah. Let's not make them like, let's not do that.
well,
And let's,
regardless of him not being mean, the important thing is he still looks like he's not
yeah, no,
all friendly,
this is how they're
which is
supposed
good.
to be with their owner, just not with strangers. They're supposed to be like, balanced like that.
So
He's
you've
a
been
cuddle.
a big advocate of Bully Girl magazine for a little bit now, because like you said, we use the magazine to kind of give you that exposure that gave you the boost to
You did
somewhat
give me
put
the
you
boost.
give you the avenue to place you where you are now.
You
Could
guys
we
did
look
give me the
forward
boost.
to potentially having you on another issue soon?
Yes, I would love to be on another issue, and I would love to hopefully if we are able to get the transition center going and the second location, talking about it, and even do a podcast if you guys are open to it, just about educating on people on what a Connie Corso should be. I don't know if it's going to get that specific with breeds or what direction you guys are going to go, but I love Bully Girl magazine.
I would
Huge
find any
women.
legitimate excuse. I would find any legitimate excuse to just come out there and spend a couple of days with your dogs.
All right, you're coming in winter. I just told you I had to hike to my property. Did I tell you that? I had to hike into my property. First it was snow, now it's mud, and you guys all think, oh, 4x4. No, this is no joke. Like the location of the property is very remote. But I'm whining to somebody who's in the military. Yeah, you'll probably make it.
Well, the good thing is you have
Never
dogs that are
mind.
made for that terrain, so
Oh yeah,
I'm
they do
sure
well out here.
they're perfectly fine out there.
Yeah, I use them like pack mules. I put I step on them and there they go.
So as we bring our episode to an end, episode 4 once again, I really want to thank you for taking your time today, Angela, and just coming on the show and kind of talking to us and educating us about you, Confidential Kennels, and the Cane Corso. I think that your particular breed of dog gets a bad rep, like many other dogs, right, in this
Yeah,
industry that folks
for
just don't
sure.
understand the dogs and they don't know how to match dogs to owners, and we're just out here getting a dog because it looks cute or it matches a certain criteria, and we never
Yeah,
did our history. So I think people like you in this industry are super important, and don't ever let
thank
anybody
you.
take that from you. Like I think it's important that you go around and just make it a purpose to highlight the importance of the dog and why to maintain that authenticity in the dog and not cater more towards public, just keeping it as original
Yeah,
as possible.
and changing it. Like I said, there's plenty of new breeds out there that we are changing and making statements, and that's so badass. But there's also breeds that we need to protect and preserve. And I
I
want to
agree.
thank you guys for having me on and for helping me in the beginning a long time ago and always being supportive, like I said, of female breeders and myself, and much love and respect. And bye, episode 104, y'all.
Episode 104
I'm sorry.
issue
Magazine
is
104, episode 4.
magazine issue 104 is
Yeah.
available on the Bully Girl mobile app. So once again, if you are
Okay.
subscribed, if you download it, you can see it there and see her featured there. Once again, thank you for being a part of podcast episode 4 for the Bully Girl Magazine podcast. Thank you for that beautiful dog that you brought on, the history and
Thank
everything.
you.
And we look forward to hearing from you soon. Thank you so
All right.
much.
Bye, guys. Talk to you later.